Up next, we have the honor of welcoming someone truly exceptional to the stage. With 18 years of dedicated service in the public sector, she currently holds the role of Senior Program Officer at Public Service and Procurement Canada, but that's just one part of her incredible story.
She's not only a leader, but a visionary, and also my amazing mother. Let's give a warm welcome to my mother, Anna Yusuf Mohammed.
Assalamu alaikum. Distinguished guests and their supporters, happy International Women's Day. We are deeply honored to have you with us tonight to celebrate the strength, resilience, and remarkable achievements of women around the world. At AKHRI, we strongly believe that education is a powerful tool for empowerment, and we are proud to support women and girls in their journey toward literacy and independence. On this International Women's Day, we honor the countless women who paved the way for gender equality. The legacies of Ms. Malala, who bravely advocates for girls' education, Ms. Ginsburg, who advanced gender equality through law, Ms. Pandor, who championed education, advocates for justice, and defended the right of vulnerable communities, including women and children in conflict zones, and remind us the journey toward justice and equality and empowerment is ongoing and demands our courage and unwavering commitment. So on this special night, let's continue to uplift, inspire, and stand in solidarity with women everywhere. Ceci dit, je tiens à remercier les organisateurs et organisatrices de cet événement, à nos fidèles bénévoles, à nos invités d'honneur, à nos conférenciers et conférencières, ainsi que toutes celles et ceux qui contribuent à la lutte pour l'égalité des genres. Votre engagement fait la différence et ensemble, nous bâtissons un monde plus juste et inclusif. I conclude by extending my sincere thanks to MP Chandra Arya for his continued support. Without him, this wonderful celebration night would not have been possible. Thank you, Chandra, Mr. Arya, for your dedication and your generosity. Again, thank you all for being with us tonight. Now I would like to invite my friend, Bagwan Sandhu, to join me for the next part of the welcoming remarks. Pour ceux ou ceux qui ne connaissent pas M. Sandhu, Bagwan est un directeur général à la retraite de la fonction publique fédérale. Il a également occupé des postes de direction au sein du gouvernement de l'Ontario et de la Colombie-Britannique.
Et en même temps.
Oui, et en même temps et surtout.
Tout le monde me connaît bien.
Il est chroniqueur. Ce sont pas. Bagwan est chroniqueur pour le journal Hill Times, mais il est surtout le cofondateur et l'ancien président et le conseiller de AKHRI, alphabétisation des mères et filles. À vous la parole. Oui. Merci.
Merci beaucoup, ça me fait un grand plaisir d'être ici. Et en suivant le conseil de Cheikh, qui a dit qu'il faut toujours commencer avec les mots du Coran, et spécialement aujourd'hui, pendant le mois de Ramadan, j'aimerais juste dire Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, Alhamdulillah, Rabbi Alamin, Rahman ar-Rahim. Pourquoi j'ai dit ça? Merci. Et je suis même pas si musulman, hein, je suis sikh. Hey Denise, comment ça va? Oh my God. Ok. Je m'excuse. I'll switch to English. Why is that? That is the Surah Al-Fatiha. And why is that important? To begin with something like Bismillah is because it is not necessarily you have to be religious or you have to be Muslim. It is simply a reminder that what we do is not for our own ego and our nafs. It is for the other, right? And that could be Bismillah. It could be other things. And this is the roots of how our program started. I think, I don't know, 100 years ago now. It was a long, long time ago. Because it wasn't something to serve our own ego and to feel important or to, whatnot. It was to actually do something for people who don't have the same access, that don't have the same privilege like we do. And particularly if you've been to, those of you who have not been to that region, in the rural areas of Somaliland, it's nomadic culture. Every parent wants to educate their children, right? But throughout, for whatever circumstances, the environment, the lack of access to funds, etc., they're not able to. And that's where we sort of stepped in. And it was an effort of family and friends. So I will just take a moment to just acknowledge some of the people who were at the day one. Of course, sister, right there, Rhoda, everybody knows. My sister, Anab, and who was just here before me. There was Sharmarke, I don't know if I remember, Abdullahi Sharmarke? No, I'm gonna, of course. And who can forget our dear friend who not only supported us with his long travel coming here and money because he was a businessman and we were just bureaucrats, is the brother Ahmed over there. Oh, there he is, yes. And, but that's just the court of the people that put things together and get things going. At that time, we had a lot of support, a lot of goodwill. Our friend Lawrence Greenspan was one of our main supporters who helped us organize and that. But it was actually our family and friends. When we needed to raise money, we went to our family and friends, right? And it was not a big cost-effective, costly project. But it was just everybody that's here. I can see recognized faces that when we had our first little event, if you remember, it was at the Legion on Kent Street. Why at the Legion? Because it was free. And we went and we put the table cots and the henna and all of them did all the work and we were successful and off we went. To the point that now there are in Somaliland region, over 1,000 girls now can read and write. Okay, over 1,000. In terms of number of villages, actually I was just talking to a young man earlier, and we've actually lost count how many villages that teachers have gone to educate and basic literacy, right? I know when I was early days, we used to give them, they still get the certificate when they've completed a course. Believe it or not, and in our privileged settings, we don't even think about these things. But I know for a fact, I heard stories of a girl who had been educated and she would take the certificate and they put it up in their room. And now she can actually demand a better match for her marriage because she's saying, hey, I'm educated, what do you got? Before, you see what I mean? How empowerment works. And what a better day than today, International Women's Day, to recognize the work that everybody has done, the community, how we have come together. Just 10 years ago, if you said Somaliland, people didn't know what you were talking about. And now we have been mobilized. We did events for when the Hargeisa fire happened. We raised money. We were able to lobby politicians, so on and so forth. Now, the real reason I'm here is that while the community and while the participation and the fundraising a lot is helpful, there are still elements that to get to the recognition that doesn't come easy unless you've got somebody of a high caliber, high consciousness, and just a good community feel supporting you, is rooting for you and is behind you. And that is hands down, it's such a pleasure to say that with unlimited commitment has been our friend and Member of Parliament from Nepean, Mr. Chandra Arya. So, you know what? When we were first starting out, and we would have, remember when we used to have these little picnics, and there'd be maybe 10 people. Chandra was always there. If it was 10 people, 2 people, it did not matter. He's the hardest working parliamentarian that I personally know of. And it's such a pleasure. We support him. We're there for you in whatever capacity you need us, sir. Thank you so much for actually getting us to sit here. Who would have imagined 10 years ago, hey, Rhoda, that we'll be sitting at the John A. Macdonald Building, from the Legion, where we only got it because they said, oh, you have to pay for the alcohol. Oh, great, nobody's going to drink anyway. So here we are. So Chandra, thank you so much. Such a pleasure. And please stay a friend. I know you will. And in whichever capacity you need us, the community, we're all here. And so much gratitude. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you so much for coming here. I try to do as many events in Parliament as possible for the simple reason that whatever we do here in Parliament, we do it on behalf of all Canadians from coast to coast to coast. So what AKHRI is doing, what you are all doing, what you are participating in, is we are doing it on behalf of all Canadians. So once again, thank you so much for coming over here. And before I speak, I have to recognize two particular persons. As a member of Parliament, sometimes I get an honor and privilege to recognize few people. I would like to recognize as many people as possible, but when King Charles became the King of Commonwealth, Government of Canada instituted King Charles III coronation medals. I had the honor and privilege of giving it to 20 people in Nepean and Ottawa, and the two persons are here, Samia Obidali and Rhoda Muse. Please stand up and they are the one of the two recipients of this few medals that I gave out. What AKHRI does is something that resonates with me personally. I was born in India in 60s, early 60s. India was a poor country then. During the 60s or 70s, one of my neighboring provinces, they started a program to educate women, educate girls. It was a very poor country. So poor, I was born in a village where you used to spend every 2 or 3 months every summer, where we did not have toilets, we did not have running water. And that's the village where my mother was born. And she was educated till high school, so we understood the importance of education. So this province next to ours, they focused on girls' education. And over a period of 1 to 2 decades, the results started showing. That became one of the fastest growing economically, in education, and in health. On every single index, that province became a wonderful, wonderful place to be in. So we have seen that. I'm talking of 70s. So as I said, my mother was educated. She did her high school. I don't think she finished it. But we were in that village where we used to spend months where we did not have anything. But there was one tiny school there. That was where my father, my 6 uncles, they all studied. Because they had basic education, they could come out of that village and start working and take us out, take the family out and provide them education. So our entire family got benefited only because we had access to education. We did not have access to toilets, we did not have access to running water, but our family had small access to education, and that has transformed us. Today, whatever I am today is only because of the education that was provided to me by my very hardworking parents. My parents were very clear, we don't have any material wealth to give you. They said, but we will educate you. And that is an asset. This is an asset that keeps on giving returns throughout the lives. We will never lose that. Nobody can steal this asset from us. And that's the beauty of what AKHRI is doing. So from day one, when I learned about AKHRI from Bhagwan Sandhu, then I met Anna. Then I said, this is something, yes, we should all get behind. And I've been telling the government, we did announce the Africa strategy, a long overdue strategy we announced. I focus more on the economic side of the things. I want the Africa-Canada relations to go beyond the humanitarian assistance, but focus on the economic development of Africa, because I firmly believe that the best way to help the countries in need is to focus on their economic development through infrastructure and education. And in that, I'm not yet fully satisfied, because I've been pushing our government that we should have the bilateral support to organizations involved in different countries within Africa. We have been focusing on helping through multilateral agencies, which is good, like the World Health Organizations, things like that is good. But I still feel we can add much more value at the local level if we have a bilateral relations. And in Canada too, we are the best country in the world, but we are not perfect yet. When I first got elected in 2015, in 2016, our government introduced a bill, Bill C-25 in 2016, I still remember, that mandated, that asked all major corporations that they have to publish their diversity policies in their annual statement to stakeholders. So when the bill came, I was in industry committee, I looked at it, everything looks good, but there was no definition of diversity. And obviously I checked with various companies, I contact, what do you understand by diversity? Everybody said gender diversity, which was good, but not enough. So I fought with the department, with the ministry, etc. In fact, I paid a price for it. I wanted the diversity definition to be included. And finally I won. And so we included, diversity includes indigenous people, women, visible minorities, and people with disabilities. There was a reason why I insisted on that, because we did take out the statistics. I'm talking of 2016. In Toronto, where most of the major corporations are located, 36% of the women, 36% of the senior management positions were held by women. 36% is good, and it was growing. It should grow beyond 50%. That's all good. But when you drill that down, in that 36%, there was only 1% women belonging to visible minorities. And that is the thing I was trying to highlight. That was the thing I was trying to bring it in. And that's where we have work to do. We have got much more work to do. Again, we are the best country in the world, but we are not perfect. But we should always continue to be better than what we were before, so that our future generations will have much better Canada. And at the same time, we should also, as I said, what AKHRI is doing, we have to support organizations like this, which are making wonderful, wonderful improvement in other parts of the world. Thank you so much for organizing this, and thank you again for coming here. Thank you.
We have two wonderful poets here. Habiba Ali is a bold poet, playwright, and mental health advocate who harnesses the power of art to inspire healing, amplify self-expression, and break the silence around mental health.
Oh, and let's not forget, Hodan Muse is a powerful poet who writes in Arabic, Amharic, and Somali, harnessing the richness of each language to capture deep emotions and celebrate diverse cultures.
Welcome them both to the stage.
You know how you guys say these boots aren't made for walking? Neither are these garments we're wearing. I think you have to keep your legs together. Right. You guys can laugh, I'm a comedian. I know it's Ramadan, but humor helps with my anxiety. You girls are doing a great job emceeing. It's not easy. I'm so privileged to be here today, and with my friend Hodan, who's going to be doing a poem in Somali, which I'll help translate. And then I'm supposed to do a poem, but I think I'm going to, if my anxiety doesn't go down, I might pass it on to someone else, but it'll be within the theme, mothers and daughters. So good evening, everyone. It's a true honor to be here today as we reflect on the journey that began in 2017 with the founding of AKHRI. I was privileged to be in that small space at Kent, but big ideas were being presented. And it's really an honor to be at the beginning of something. I remember wearing Levi's jeans when I was young and always seeing like 1873 on that little, I'm like, 1870, I wish I was there. And then I realized quickly I was a Black Muslim woman. I don't think it would work out. 1873, so that dream went away real quick. But this organization's mission to empower women and girls through education and skills development resonates deeply with me. As I consider my own life as a woman and an artist, I often wonder if I'd never been taught to read or write, how different would my life be? Would my poetry, my theater, my ability to create and even impersonate a 50-plus Somali woman rapper, would that be trapped inside me? I think everyone knows how Haji more than they know me actually these days. But art has always been therapy, as we know, and it was through literacy that I was able to channel my deepest emotions through storytelling and heal in ways that words that I wrote can only describe. Without the gift of literacy, would I have found another way to heal? Would I have the same freedom of expression through art? I'm not sure. But what I do know is that the art we create and share, made possible by literacy, has been a source of deep healing and empowerment for many women and many people in their life. Thank you to all of you who understand the importance of educating a girl or a woman. That's why literacy for women and their daughters is really important. And we know that, like Mr. Arya said, and our beloved brother who was before him, that it is truly a privilege. Thank you for being a part of this celebration, and I look forward to the powerful conversations and connections that will emerge from today's event. Now, to the actual art. My wonderful friend Hodan, this is her first time on stage, so I think as an empath, she's passing some of her anxiety to me. Because usually I kill it, guys. I pretend I don't have anxiety. But she's gonna do her poem in Somali, which is a very rich language. And English, I'm sorry guys, is very bland. It's like, doesn't have curry or spices, or it's just, but we know it, thank God. It's a unifying language. So she's gonna go, and then I will try to summarize what she says, and I'll do the best of my ability, but it is richer and more meaningful in Somali, believe it. And the elders will let you guys know. So go ahead.
Yeah,
We got you.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Hodan Muse, but my stage name is Proud Qorshes. And Qorshe means program, so my stage name is Proud Qorshe. And Habiba is the one introduced to me AKHRI organization, and Anab also. She told me about it. And when I saw a lot of, I didn't watch a lot of videos. I only watched 2 videos, and it was really good. What she did was like amazing. And I didn't even, when I was writing this poem, my soul was there, but only my body was here. I swear, when I was writing, I was seeing in my mind Somali houses, Somali cultural house, the children who's learning and everything, and I was feeling like I was there with them. And this is my gabay in Somali. We say gabay, and it says AKHRI. And I was like, what is AKHRI? Wa maxay AKHRI? AKHRI waa afgarad. AKHRI waa aqoon. AKHRI waa itaal. AKHRI waa awood. And AKHRI waa afeef. alif haddaanad garanayn waxaad tahay amuume akhri aad walaaloy alif haddaanad garanayn awooddaadu waa badhe akhri aad walaaloy alif haddaanad garanayn gabal damay ayaad tee akhri aad walaaloy alif haddaanad garanayn aayamale adduunkuye akhri aad walaaloy alif haddaanad garanayn waxaad tahay indhoole orod nuurka soo hano oo bal aan kuu tilmaamee akhri aad walaaloy
It's not over yet. But what she said is, what is AKHRI? How can we define AKHRI and what it means to read? To read is to understand and to be understood. AKHRI is knowledge, AKHRI is strength, AKHRI is power, AKHRI is compassion. If you are illiterate, you are incomplete in many ways. It's as though half of your potential remains hidden, locked away, waiting to be discovered. Without literacy, it's like walking through life in total darkness, unable to fully see or understand the world around you. Literacy is light. It illuminates your path, opening your doors and revealing opportunities that would otherwise remain closed. When faced with the realities and limitations that come with illiteracy, the solution is clear. Seek out AKHRI and everything it provides. AKHRI is the key to unlocking your full potential, the prescription that empowers you to break free from the shadows and step into a light of knowledge and possibility.
Okay, markii sidaa la ii waaniyey ee la iiga sheekeeyey akhri baan tegey waxna waan soo bartay iminka waxaan haystaa awood ugu filan marka waa inaan u mahad celiyo akhri wixii ay i bartay waa inaan u sheegoon ku idhaahdo akhriyay aqoontaadu waa hiilka noloshayda akhriyay aqoontaadu waa tahaafka iga saartay waayo qof haafa baan ahayo badha markii hore waxba maan aqoonin akhriyay aqoontaadu waa tan kugu afgaranayo waayo shalay markii akhri aad laygu lahaa dee macnahaba maan garanin akhri waxay tahay maan aqoonin akhriyay aqoontaadu ani way awood buuxda akhriyay aqoontaadu hiilkayga weeyaane hooyo nabad ku noolow
So she replaced AKHRI and said AKHRIye as if she's calling it by a name. It resonates. It's almost a person. So AKHRIye, knowledge has become my faithful companion and the guiding light of my life. AKHRIye, knowledge is the strength that lifted me, freeing me from the feeling of living only half of my potential. AKHRIye, it is your knowledge that has helped me understand the world and in turn allowed me to be understood. AKHRIye, this newfound knowledge has granted me full power to guard my confidential matters for my own. Because she said, like, she doesn't need someone to read her affairs for her, because if you don't know or you're illiterate, someone has to read everything for you. So your confidentiality, anything that's your medical, or anything that you seek that needs to be confidential will be exposed to others. And she said, AKHRIye, through you, the knowledge I have gained, you have become more than an ally. You have been almost like a guardian, almost like a mother. May you, dear mother, AKHRI, thrive in peace and prosperity for as long as you exist. Got it. So, on that note, I have to do my poem, but my anxiety has not come down. Even though I'm so proud.
I'm so proud of you. Really.
Mashallah.
Really.
Yeah. But I want to call up here Istahil. She'll do a poem that will have all of you guys engaged. Istahil's my 18-year-old daughter. And whenever you have something like AKHRI, that's for mothers and daughters, you can see how education, art, literacy in real time can be passed down through generations. So I knew Habrana would let me get away with that instead of me doing my own poem. So Stahil is going to do a poem entitled Belief. And then I think we need a picture from her, see of all three of us in our lovely get-ups, our cultural clothing. Stahil Ismail, welcome.
Hi. I am actually so honored to be on this stage because the first time I ever performed poetry was actually at the AKHRI event that was put on in 2017. It's funny how it's a full circle moment, you know, because of that beautiful event, I got the confidence to write more poetry and perform it at so many other places. So I got comfortable with performing and being on stage. So thank you guys for giving me that wonderful opportunity. Yeah, as my mother beautifully introduced me, my name is Stahil Ismail. I'm an 18-year-old poet here in Ottawa. It's really amazing because as Somalis, we're known as the nation of poets. And poetry has been in my family for generations. My grandpa, he sings a little poetry here and there, my uncle, my mother. So it's really beautiful, I feel, because it's such an honor to have such a wonderful gift running through your veins. All right, yeah, so the poem I'm going to be reading is Belief. And it also ties into just the entire organization of this, of AKHRI, because belief, you wouldn't go anywhere without having anybody believe in you. And AKHRI believes in the women who are, and the young girls who are in Somalia to get education and to thrive. And without your belief, that wouldn't have happened. So we are so grateful to you guys. So Belief, it starts with a little song part. So I heard all of you can sing before the national anthem. So if you guys, I'm gonna get you comfortable with it, get you to hear it. It's pretty catchy, and then you guys can sing it with me, all right? All right. I believe in you. There's nothing you can't do. 'Cause if I believe in you, there's nothing you can't do. Ready? I believe in you. There's nothing you can't do. 'Cause if I believe in you, there's nothing you can't do. When an adult tells you, I believe in you, you start to believe what they say is true. No matter the idea, you are able to follow through, so much so it becomes what you try to pursue. On the other hand, it works the same way. We start to internalize what they say, especially if what they say brings you down. It's kind of hard for you to turn things around. I remember when my talent was first brought up to me, I rejected the idea of having a talent right away. How could my words have an impact in any way? How could I use what I enjoy doing as an outlet of positivity that in fact can be someone else's tranquility? The person who reminded me of my talent was an adult who couldn't have known how much it meant to me, but it did give me the confidence to go and write my poetry and now perform it in front of all of you. This is what a cycle of sharing and encouragement can do. I mean, it's easy to tell kids to take a hike. You sure you don't want to go over there and ride your bike? I've heard all these things before, but for a kid like me, words were our fuel. Words, they uplift us. We remember what you said, where you said it, and how it made us feel. Sometimes I got impacted by words, my emotions I could not conceal. So trust me, not to quote Hawa Haji, but it is not easy. But what helped me see was hearing, I believe in you. There's nothing you can't do. 'Cause if I believe in you, there's nothing you can't do. Thank you guys so much.
Give it up for Hodan, first-time poet. It's not easy to be in front of people. Please give it up for Hodan, guys.
So tonight, we have the privilege of introducing an incredible keynote speaker, Denise Emiot. She's a powerhouse in both the corporate and the nonprofit worlds, the founder and the owner of Denise Emiot and Associates, and a leader with a global impact. As the former CEO of College and Institutes Canada, she championed the voices of Canada's College Institutes, Cégep, and Polytechnics, shaping education for employment in over 25 countries.
And if that wasn't impressive enough, Denise has been recognized with multiple leadership awards and is a highly sought-after speaker on both the national and global stages. She's a true trailblazer in education, leadership, and innovation.
So without any further ado, let's welcome Denise Emiot.
So this is a hard act to follow after those poems and those songs. Bonjour tout le monde, c'est vraiment un plaisir de vous voir ici aussi nombreux. Ma présentation est surtout en anglais. Je n'avais pas réalisé que ça allait être bilingue, alors je m'en excuse. Mais je vais peut-être commencer en français et traduire au fur et à mesure. Au moins, j'aurais fait une petite partie bilingue. So it's a pleasure. Alors, je vous disais que ça me fait plaisir d'être ici en cette journée très spéciale, Journée internationale des femmes, pour vous parler de 3 sujets très importants pour moi, qui sont importants pour mon âme et mon cœur. L'éducation des filles et des femmes, l'empouvoirment et l'équité, la diversité et l'inclusion. On a fait beaucoup de progrès dans les dernières décennies. Juste pour en nommer quelques-uns, les femmes, maintenant, on a le droit de voter. There is better pay for equal work. On peut travailler même si on est marié. Ma tante a dû arrêter de travailler quand elle s'est mariée. On peut travailler même si on est enceinte. Ma mère a perdu son emploi quand elle est devenue enceinte de moi. On a maintenant des congés de maternité et ma nièce, qui habite aux États-Unis, a eu quelques semaines seulement de son employeur. Et on a des droits maintenant comme femmes, même si on vit un divorce. But so much more needs to be done, still in so many parts of the world, as well as here in Canada. As a champion of the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals that I used as my North Star, I have 3 messages for you tonight. First, the importance of access to literacy and education. Second, recognition of prior learning assessment. Third, developing a culture of lifelong learning. For things to move in those important areas, we need a vision. We need a vision to open the gates for change. That is when it begins. It begins when we talk about our vision. It goes even further when we share our dreams. And it starts to happen when we make a step. We just need a step at a time. A step to move forward. In fact, Gandhi himself one day said, "Be the change you want to see in the world." I had that quote on the door of my office for years. It has guided me. It has guided my own journey. So my first message about the importance of access to literacy and education. When I worked as the CEO of Colleges and Institutes Canada, I saw firsthand the difference that basic skills and entrepreneurship skills could bring to women in Brazil and their family. A project that started with an aim of supporting 1,000 women became a project of 100,000 women. A project that is now replicated in Senegal. I remember teaching the counselors in Senegal to learn how to use the tree of life to support women of marginalized groups to discover their passion and build hope and confidence. I remember their excitement at doing it themselves, and then the pride they had when the women they were supporting had a plan and felt confident in the future they would create for themselves. When I was in Ethiopia last fall with CUSO International, I heard of young girls that do not attend schools on some days of the month because they do not have access to hygiene products. This bothered me a lot, and it's still bothering me. But young women, entrepreneurs, found solutions for those young girls by being creative and empowered and offering reusable pads. I remember how marginalized women in Ethiopia were also supporting each other despite their differences between them. And they had learned to respect each other while developing their skills together. My second message, recognitions of prior learning assessment recognition. Too often people have developed skills but have no credentials to show for. And this has limited the life of so many. And Bagwant, as you talked about the certificate earlier, with respect to the dowry, this is a prime example of that. So let me share the story of my dad. My dad, who first retired at 57, but quickly realized he was bored. My dad was a blue collar. He worked in the printing business, but he had no credentials. He had stopped school in grade 5 elementary school when he was 11, when his father passed away. He had to earn a living to help my grandmother, who had 2 other siblings. My father had taken various courses on how to use computers at a nearby college. But my father, after retiring, kept looking at job ads, but they all required at least a grade 10 or 12, which he did not have. Being in education myself and being a volunteer in a National Women's and Education Association, I had heard about prior learning assessment recognition. I contacted the Department of Education and asked for more details. I was able to prepare a portfolio for my dad, who received a few months later an equivalency of grade 10, allowing him to work in 2 more jobs and finally retiring at the venerable age of 82. My parents have been both great advocates for educations for their children and their nieces and their nephews. But this lack of credentials is still too often a barrier in our own country and preventing us to have access to great workers, often immigrants that could make a good livelihood and contribute to our society. Or they have told, oh, you have the credentials, but we do not really recognize those credentials, or you don't have Canadian experience. The good news is that most of the post-secondary colleges nowadays have mechanisms to help people that want to have their credentials recognized or their competencies recognized through a prior learning assessment recognitions. But unfortunately, so many people still do not know about prior learning assessment recognition, and they start all over when they don't have to. Just imagine if you enter in a program and half of the courses can be credited, how your life can change, and how many more people would get credentials if they would only know about prior learning assessment recognitions. And I hope you will all become ambassadors of PLAR. Third message, developing a culture of lifelong learning. Lifelong learning is key to growth for us as individuals and for our society. I will never forget when last year I was attending the launch of Al Mujadila, which is a center for women and a mosque in Doha, Qatar. Seeing the pride of Muslim women to have a place they could call their own, a place where they can not only worship, but develop their leadership skills and be empowered. Last month, I had the privilege of attending their first summit, Al-Jadal, where Muslim women from all over the world share their learnings and questioning in a kind of sisterhood that was warm to my heart. Although I'm not Muslim, they just embraced me, and I felt like one of them. In Tunisia, a few years ago, I had the chance to see the transformations of women that were not yet the head of their institution, as well as women entrepreneurs. They were transformed after our leadership training because we gave them the tools and confidence to think bigger and the means to do it through a coaching journey. While this year's theme of International Women's Day is Accelerate Action these days, yet again, EDI, Equity, Diversity, Inclusion, is under attack. International aid development is diminished or abolished. Funding in education is frozen. Women still do not have access to education in so many parts of the world. That is why we cannot take anything for granted. We need to continue. So you may ask me, what can we do individually? What can we do collectively? So individually, we can continue to learn and inspire others. We can give funding. We can sit on boards and make a difference. We can provide funding for scholarships. We can mentor or coach girls and women. We can leave a legacy. Collectively, we can advocate for better public policies. We can ensure our workplace or networks contribute to causes such as literacy and education. We can ensure that funding in international aid development continue and grow. AKHRI is a prime example of individuals taking action involving others in a common purpose towards literacy and educations for girls and women. So again, a proof that together we can do it. We owe it to each other and to the world. I will complete with the message I got this morning from one of my friends living in Jordan. Denise, today we celebrate every woman on the planet. You bring so much love and beauty into our world just by being in it, and it makes everyone a little happier. But that's my message to all of you. So the sun shines brighter when all of us smile, so keep smiling. Happy Women's Day.
We're just gonna set up here the fireside chat discussions. We'll get our panelists up here, and then we'll get the discussion going. Very inspiring women here on the panel. So I'm going to ask a few questions. I'll ask them in English and then in French, and then feel free to answer in the language of your choice, of course. So the first theme of the first question is personal journey and inspiration. So what has inspired you to become an advocate for women's empowerment? Qu'est-ce qui vous a motivé à vous engager pour l'autonomisation des femmes?
I want to start with a very short story. When we were singing that song together, I believe in you because you can do everything. I think that was the word. I was a little girl. My father always said to me, if my daughter wants, she can break down the mountains. That is how I grew up. If my daughter wants, she can break down the mountains. I was fortunate to have a support, and when you were reading your, I cannot see from the lights clearly, but reading your poem, that was the theme. If somebody believes in you, if somebody supports you, then you just take in, it grows in you, and after a while, you start radiating to the others outside. So that is how my life started. That is how I got my confidence. And when I started my business, as I said, it was so hard to see that people have so much beautiful things to give, but they cannot bring out their full potential. And from that father's words, I just created a tagline for my business. Own your brilliance. And that is what I'm doing. So that is where I'm inspired with women, because women need to own their brilliance. And if they want, they can break down the mountains.
Beautiful.
That was beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. Well, I think the question should be what hasn't inspired me to become a women's advocate, because being amongst all of you, seeing all of the amazing things that you all do, that's part of it. That's part of what keeps me going. But to go back a little bit, I grew up in Saudi Arabia and Pakistan, and it was a different life for women there. It was very, very different. You couldn't go out without having someone with you. The only thing that we had was our education, our support of our family. And I was lucky. I had a very supportive father who said something very similar to me, and a very supportive mother who was able to, despite only having high school education, was able to come here on her own, raise us, make sure that we had the education that we deserved when our father was away in a different country. But on a closer note, something that really inspired me was when I first became the research director of the Canadian Centre for Women's Empowerment. We led the first study on economic abuse in Canada. And some of the stories that I got to hear from these women were things that I took for granted. So little things where they told us that there's this assumption that everybody has a credit card or they have a good credit score. So when everyone went into the pandemic and everything went digital, they weren't able to access certain things that everyone else was able to access. Or they would say, one of the survivors of economic abuse, she said it was unthinkable to get sick because we couldn't afford even to go get our medications. Some of the generic medications or the name brand medications weren't covered under OHIP. Or the transit was unreliable. So something that was a minor inconvenience for me became something that was almost completely destructive for a woman who has gone through abuse, because she's waiting at a transit station, waiting for it at a bus stop, and trying to make sure her abuser isn't there, and she's just trying to get her kids to school. And now we know, as a result of those research studies, that one third of Canadian women go through domestic economic abuse. The UN called it the shadow pandemic after we came out of the pandemic, and we're still not completely recovered from that. But despite all of the barriers these women had, they were still fighting. They took the time to be part of our research study so that we could showcase them, hear their voices, put their stories out into the light, and create some of the programs that we were able to create, because before then there wasn't any data or stats on economic abuse. Those women are still fighting today. I hope and I think I speak for everyone, is that if we champion their voices and are able to bring their stories to light, that we can be the change for them, bring the change in our programs, and continue to bring education, financial literacy, and domestic abuse for women here in Canada.
For me, empowerment is a responsibility, because I saw firsthand on what can change when a woman believes in you. My career path is not like any other. I became a director and executive in the government at the age of 30. And that was only because of how a senior assistant deputy minister saw the skills in my leadership when I was at the working level. She said, Amira, you have what it takes to be a leader, and I believe in you. And she said my name in rooms that I was not in. And by her pushing me to my limits, by her saying that Amira can do this when I was not in a meeting, when I was not in a boardroom, by bringing me along to important meetings with deputy ministers, with senior executive in the government, I was able to shine, and she gave me an opportunity. When there was an executive level position open in the government, she said, this is Amira's position. And it didn't matter whether or not I went on 3 maternity leaves in such a short period of time, but she saw and believed in me. So for me, empowerment goes beyond a goal or an objective. It's how I can bring a village with me and use my connections and my network today to bring on the next generation, for our future kids, for our kids' kids. And it's important for me to have people in leadership positions that look like me, that I can resonate with, and that go through similar challenges that I went through. And that's what my parents taught me. They said it doesn't matter what education path you have, it doesn't matter how old you are, the color of your skin, you just have to show them that you can do the work. You have to prove your value, and then everything else, it doesn't matter. So for me, empowerment is that. It's a responsibility to bring a village with you, because that's what was done for me at a young age, and I was able to prove myself because of that. So that's my story.
Bravo à toutes les femmes qui ont parlé avant moi. Je ne sais pas qu'est-ce que vous m'avez laissé, mais vous m'avez laissé la responsabilité de parler en français, peut-être, pour répondre à cette question, si vous êtes tous d'accord. Alors, qu'est-ce qui m'inspire ou qu'est-ce qui m'encourage pour jouer un rôle de défenseuse de l'autonomisation des femmes, ou women empowerment? C'est bizarre, mais parce que quand j'ai vu le thème, j'ai dit, ben, ça ressemble à mon organisation qui s'appelle Family Empowerment Services Canada. C'est intéressant. Et c'est un nom que j'ai choisi avec beaucoup de réflexion. J'ai beaucoup pensé à ça, et je trouve le mot empowering ou empowerment est c'est un moteur de changement radical pour toutes les choses. Mais je vais commencer par le début. Je dois dire que je me trouve maintenant surtout très privilégiée d'avoir été élevée dans une famille qui a vu l'éducation comme un levier pour la société, mais aussi qui a vu l'éducation comme quelque chose d'essentiel, peu importe si on est homme ou femme. Je viens d'une famille de 5 enfants, 2 garçons et 3 filles. Puis papa a toujours dit, sans distinction, le meilleur investissement, c'est celui que l'on fait dans l'humain. Je l'ai toujours entendu dire ça. Puis ma mère, paix soit sur leur âme, a toujours dit, si vous voulez, vous pouvez. Puis je me souviens toujours de ces paroles, même de ces conseils, quand je suis devenue maman à mon tour. Et j'étais mise devant le défi. I was like tested by having a boy and a girl and a boy, let's put it this way, because my daughter is older than my son. And my mom was always asking for their success, praying for their success, asking about how they are doing in their education from far away, from over 10,000 kilometers away. I'm from Tunisia, by the way, and the only condition my mom and father let me leave Tunisia is to be registered. The first thing to do before leaving Tunisia is to be registered at the university. So that was their condition. And I can't thank them enough because je ne sais pas pourquoi, je vais embarquer en anglais, mais en tout cas, je ne peux pas les remercier assez parce que je trouve qu'ils nous ont donné un passeport et une puissance et une vraie richesse. J'ai entendu une vraie richesse. Denise l'a mentionné, une vraie richesse qui restera avec nous à jamais. Personne ne peut nous voler ça et personne ne peut nous empêcher. Puis, je suis consciente et je suis devenue encore plus consciente parce que sometimes we take things for granted when we have it at home, but I became more aware of the reality. The reality is not all the families have this. All the girls have access to education. So I discovered that even in Canada, we have a lot to do. I was shocked when I first heard someone saying she had to resign when she became pregnant. And I was shocked because it wasn't a thing for, you know, and barriers do exist, and it's up to us, women, to break them and go beyond that. And I think what I'm doing with CPO or other institutions, I'm trying to change policy, because it does happen that we change policy, modernize policies, make them, les mettre à jour, etc., to let people have access regardless their gender, their origin, their skin color. I'm trying. And I can tell you that I'm proud to see that there are some impacts. It's only my 3rd mandate as president for CPO, but it's my 7th year with the CPO, and many powerful ladies worked before me at the CPO, including Edith Dumont, including Rhoda Muse, qui est avec nous ici. And they did lots of change. But I can tell you, Rhoda, and all the people here in this room, that I find that having a president, female president at CPU, is an example that there is potential for ladies, even though I am considered a minor visibility, from the category of minor visibility, but still there is room. When I see we have 12 trustees, we have 5 trustees plus myself who are women, which is amazing. And I see we have 3 superintendents out of 6. So we have 50% of our superintendents who are female. Directions of schools, school principals, we have out of 45, we have 30 female leading our schools, which is amazing. And direction for services, or departments. Out of 9, we have 6 female ladies leading. And we have 2 student trustees, and one of them, the youngest, is actually from grade 11. Noor is a female student as well. So I think there is hope out there.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think in the theme of, women's empowerment, someone mentioned, it takes a village. And I think we've all heard that. It takes a village, that saying. And so I think, if you empower a woman, you empower a girl, pay that forward, empower forward, and what a beautiful world that will bring us, right? So let's go to our next question and theme, leadership and workplace equality. So the question is, what do you think is the biggest barrier to women advancing into leadership roles or non-traditional industries? Selon vous, quel est le plus grand obstacle à l'avancement des femmes vers des postes de leadership ou dans des secteurs non traditionnels? Donc, anyone can answer.
Back to me. Okay. I think the biggest thing is when I think about this question, I was kind of gathering some data, research, and how to kind of support what I'm saying. It is the gender bias. It is the stereotyping. It is the cultural limitations that we create that really creates barriers for women to promote to leadership levels. I'm going to give a couple of stats over here that I came up with. While women comprise nearly 50% of the global workforce, only 32% hold senior leadership positions, with just 25 at the C-suite level. In traditionally male-dominated sectors, such as construction, it is only 10.9%, manufacturing, less than 30%, and the agriculture is not that better too, 23.3%, supply chain and transportation, 23%, and this is the data from LinkedIn from 2023. Oil, gas, and mining, 18.6%, infrastructure, 16.1%. So these are very, very low numbers. But in some other sectors, healthcare, for example, 49.5% is women. Education, 46% women. Public sector roles, 40.3%. So there are higher numbers in these areas. Of course, committing to DEI, now we added A to that too, accessibility, so now it is 4 letters. It is the equal opportunities. When I think about DEI in an organization, it is not really, oh, we have to have this many women in. It is not, oh, we have to have this many indigenous people in. We have to have. It is opening the pathway for those people and giving them the opportunity to build their skills, build their knowledges, so when they apply for a job, they're such a strong candidates, their being women or not important anymore. So as women, we need to bring it to that level. I know in the organizations, in our employment life cycle, when we talk about it from the hiring to leaving the work life, not everything is equal. But it is, I always see it is up to women too to ask for that. Because of these limitations, sometimes I see women in my business too, they are qualified, they are capable, they have the skills, but they don't go for that role. They say, I'm not going to get it. So own your brilliance. I mean, if we don't, nobody will. So it is up to women, all these educations, all these skills, in some cases better than men, but they are not owning it. They are suppressed that they won't get me. If there's another man, he will get the job. So that is, I think, one thing is a big barrier. I think we are just creating that barrier too a little bit to ourselves. That is what I'm thinking.
Thanks so much. And yes, I will have to repeat some of what you said because in interviewing public servants, even, I remember a story from a director at NRCan, not Amira. But she said that she had worked very hard to meet all of the competencies to become an executive level, get her French levels, and there was an open position within her team that she was working towards. And unfortunately, the competition was closed. They didn't give her a reason as to why she wasn't picked, and they went with an outside hire that wasn't even within the pool itself. So if our problem is that we have these unconscious barriers or systemic barriers in our system, then we have to look at them with a little bit of a psychological eye. And most of us, we say, you know, the answer is, oh, training. But I used to work at the Behavioral Insights Unit in the Ontario Public Service, and there's a study that did a review of, I think it was 64 unconscious bias training results from 1968 to 2008, and it found actually that unconscious bias training has sometimes the opposite effect or no effect if there aren't any tools or any proper nudges that are built within the system to be able to change our culture. And part of that is because psychologically, when someone is asking you to confront some of your values, it either creates a bit of a negative reaction, it reinforces some stereotypes that you already held, or sometimes it has a bias called moral reinforcement, which is, oh, I took this training, so you pat yourself on the back and you continue to, and you say, oh, I'm free of discrimination and bias, and you keep doing the same thing that you're doing. So the answer a little bit to that is building the tools within our system, maybe like blind hiring, yes, that's what it's called. Blind hiring, which is taking off some of the names or the institutions of resumes that are coming in, but also this concept of sponsoring and mentorship is so important. Your net worth is your network. And when we get to those top positions or even the middle positions, being able to connect women with other departments, with places that are hiring or places that will be able to build your skills. That's the only way that I have found the places that I have been. But if I could take a macro level look at this as well, if this is all about our systemic barriers and systemic biases, then we have to look at our culture. It comes from outside of our workplace culture as well. And I spoke to Minister Marcy Ian of Women and Gender Equality about this in our podcast, and she said something similar that I've been thinking for some time. And it was something that she said that right now in our culture, and especially our online culture, there is this polarization between men and women that is occurring, a lot of finger pointing. And it was something that she found as well. But something that's coming from around all of these violence against women's organizations, immigrant organizations, community organizations, all of them are saying also, yes, we need to protect women, but we also have to start looking at men's mental health, because that is one of the prevalent stressors of domestic violence. I will be taking a domestic violence view, but being able to focus on that and bring men into the conversation. And I'm so glad to see that there are so many men that have been able to promote and advocate for women who have been here today along with the MP. But getting away from that finger pointing and coming together and saying to men like, hey, we have gone through the pain that you are going through. Right now, young men's literacy rates are falling behind, and young women's education and career advancement is accelerating. But being able to see that if there is a demographic that is being left behind, we can say, we have gone through that pain. We've gone through those barriers. We know what it is to heal. And something that I was talking about with the minister was that, there's this conversation that's happening that men are online, men are ignorant and women are, insert whatever adjective you like there. But the truth is that men right now are in pain and women are bleeding. And the way to get through that is to bring each other together and say that, yes, we can heal. We can heal through art. We can heal through our community. We can heal through our culture. So I hope that by bringing this narrative outside of just the workplace, it starts reinforcing that narrative within the workplace as well.
The question was, what are the barriers? My co-panelists here said a lot: unconscious bias, gender stereotype. These are all things that we constantly see in the workplace. In order to be a woman in a leadership position, you often think that you have to be likable. And in order to be likable, you have to be sweet, kind, not be the loudest voice in the room. But for men, in order to be likable in a senior leadership position, you have to be strong, persistent, very assertive. But when a woman does that, she's all of a sudden not likable anymore. She's like, wow, you're strong. And oftentimes around a table, you'll say something and a man's gonna say something else and they'll be like, oh my God, good job. We totally agree with that. And oftentimes when we're the only ones around the table, you see that dynamic. When I am in meetings, I see my senior leadership that are women, that this constantly happens to as well. So unconscious bias is a huge thing for me when it comes to barrier. Lack of mentorship, lack of sponsorship. These are all barriers that, as a woman of color, you don't really have the same opportunities that your counterparts do. For them, it comes naturally, right? But for us, we always have to work extra hard to be first recognized for the work that we do, and secondly, to also feel that we're deserving. So say what you want, well, not really what you want, but if you know the subject matter, say it. And for senior leaders to bring you in the room and to say, you know what, today, I'm not gonna do the presentation, my staff is going to do it. They're the ones who've done the work. Create those opportunities for your staff and for the next generation. So yeah, I'll leave it at that.
Historiquement, comme on l'a mentionné, il y a eu un biais toujours envers les femmes et pas mal de stéréotypes. Mais il y avait des barrières constantes, que ce soit au niveau de l'accès à l'université ou autre. Maintenant, we are seeing kind of more female girls at universities. We see that more, but despite this, we still have 30.9%. I'm here focusing only on Ontario. I'm not going far. 30.9% of women occupying senior executive roles. In 2020, women held only 31.4% of leadership position in Canada. And inequity when it comes to salary, still, when I saw these numbers, I was shocked. For every $1 earned by a man, a woman earns an average of 0.87, 87 cents only, minus 13%. That's for me unacceptable. But it's all linked to two things for me: bias and stereotypes. You know, I can't believe in certain fields we still think this is only for men and this is only for women. And I think the work has to start from within. We start from ourselves first, but in family, when we educate kids, in classrooms, and in communities, in the society at large. Still, my daughter is in the medical field. And she told me, Mom, until now, when you say the surgeon is coming, people are expecting a male, not a female. If you enter the room and you are the most competent surgeon and you are a female, they tell you, I want to talk to the doctor, not the nurse. And that's, I'm sorry, but we are guilty of this somehow. When we speak about engineer, the male image is there for us. But if we want to hire someone, you know, to fix something in our houses, electrician or whatever, we think a male will be more suitable or more capable to help us than a female. So I think there is quite a bit of work to be done from female women to help women as well. And we have to remember this because I learned this when I was in elementary school, and I still live by it. It's a famous poet. He's actually Egyptian, Shawqi, Ahmed Shawqi. He says, a woman is half of the society, and the other half is raised by her. And my teacher added, it means a woman is the whole society. So, investing in a woman empowers and in women empowerments ensure a more just and more wealthy future for all of us, not only for women. And we leave it there.
Wow. Well said. Well said, ladies. Well, in the interest of time, I'm going to have to skip to our last question. And you guys have to answer very short, very brief, very to the point. I think people are starting to get hangry, and I'm getting some looks here. So I gotta get things moving. All right. So, what is one key skill women need for future success? Quelle est la compétence essentielle que les femmes doivent acquérir pour réussir à l'avenir? How about we start with you, since we've been going this way?
Intéressant. One single thing. Believe in yourself. If there are barriers, you will face them for sure, but they are there to break. Mm-hmm. So do it, and don't let anyone tell you there is a ceiling there, this is your maximum. You can do and reach whatever level you want.
Beautiful.
For me, one skill that you need in order to be successful as a woman would be communication. I feel like we really underestimate that communication skill, whether it's at a networking event, whether it's you communicating on a specific subject, really advocating for yourself, and not to be scared to be the loudest voice in the room. That's where I would put it.
I kind of said it a little bit earlier as well, but your network is your net worth, and being able to network and be versatile in adapting yourselves to different skills. It's something that women do anyways. We take on so many different roles. So being able to put that to use in our workplace and be able to network and, like you said, advocate for yourself, because if you have that confidence within yourself, other people will believe in you and other people will want to take you along.
I think I will emphasize adaptability over here. Adaptability is the skill that will increase the resilience. Adaptability is the skill that will increase the unlearning, relearning ability. Adaptability is the skill that will give hope. So for these to happen, adaptability intelligence today is the most critical thing that everybody should embrace, but women. Because of the technology and how the digital landscape is changing, this continuous lifelong learning on technology is very important for women. When you talk to some groups, you just notice that they don't even have the comfortable they're not comfortable using even a fax machine, even a PC. These are not acceptable in this time. So we need to anticipate what is coming, what is changing, what we need to do so we're not left behind, because it's so easy for us to be left behind. So it is our job to understand where do we need to strengthen our skills and how we adapt this new environment instead of avoiding it or just pretending as if it is not there. So that is the biggest thing I think that will save women and give them empowerment. Thank you.
Amazing, amazing. Please give a round of applause to our amazing panelists here. Very, very wise words. I think, as a young woman trying to make my way in, the corporate world, but I don't know if the government's corporate. But anyways, I work in the government and I'm trying to make my way, And I think it's hard when you don't see people who look like yourself. You don't feel like you can, achieve such heights. So anyways, I really, really appreciated your words. And all the amazing, powerful women in my life. Shout outs to my mom over there, sitting over there. Hey, Mom. All right, so thank you, ladies, again.
So today, right, I'm here to present the Kilimanjaro hike, right? There's 6 unique, powerful individuals who went on a cause to climb one of the tallest peaks in the world for women and girls that don't have the opportunity like us here in this wonderful country that we call Canada to have education, right? So not only did they put their body through a very challenging and as well as a initiative that tests your body's limits, but they did it for a noble cause, right? And I think that's worthy of of highlighting that experience. So there's been a few videos that have actually been prepared by myself, right? Actually, it's a quick anecdote was they're all the way there, putting their body to the line, and I know how to make things juggle and excel, but coming into the just video editing, I said, you know what, I have to help in the way that I can. We're supporting girls and women learning, so I'm here under a warm house, and the least I could do is just learn a few little tricks that to tell the story visually, right? Pictures and a photo say 1,000 words, but when you have a video in front of you and to show what happened, I think that speaks volume. So I think we have a few videos today that will show you a bit of what they went through, and after that we'll call them up to maybe share a few words. They took that trip and they said, you know what, let's make a difference with our actions. Sometimes, some people have money, some people have resources, but if you're able, you have your hands, you have your feet, you can do actions, you can do a lot when nowadays just with your own actions. So that's where that came from. Fast forward to 2024, Yasmin said, hey, we had success. I mean, it was grueling, but let's do more. Let's do more for the same noble cause. And she was able to convince not only her brother, but all the wonderful individuals you see today. So the first question that I have for you today is maybe starting with Yasmin, and the others, where did the initial thought come from? And for the others, where oh, the mic.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Just trying to be subtle.
Hey, it's fine. Yeah. And for the others, when Yasmin came to you, right? At what point did you feel convinced, and what were the thoughts that were going through your mind at the point where you said, you know what, this is something that I want to do, maybe for myself, maybe for a noble cause, maybe for something others. So we'll start with Yasmin.
Okay, very good questions. Hi everyone, my name is Yasmin. I think when we first started out with this initiative, we knew that we wanted to go on this hike to kind of have something to challenge ourselves. Both Jasmine and I wanted to become physicians and start medical school, so we knew that we were going to be giving a lot to our own education, and kind of we recognized the privilege that we had to be pursuing that realm of education as well. It's grueling, but it's an area of big privilege where just historically, especially within Canada, it's been home to a lot of exclusionary policies, almost up until 2018, where on paper it said that Black students couldn't, be admitted to certain medical schools in Canada. So recognizing that, I knew that I was grateful to have the opportunity to pursue this education, and I knew that although there are injustices that we face here in Canada, there are greater elsewhere, right? There are a lot of literacy barriers around the world, specifically home to Somaliland, where we're all from. And so I wanted to create this turn this into an initiative that could also support those opportunities for other women that wanted to pursue similar or just different background, different kind of pursuits in education, but just at least give them the opportunity to choose. That's kind of what we wanted to do with this initiative. And it definitely snowballed into a lot more. I never would have thought that 2 years later I would be at Kilimanjaro. If I had told myself that, I probably would not have chosen to do so, but it was such a fulfilling experience. And to do so alongside my closest friends, my brother and my dad, who was 53 at the time. So shout out to him. He's not here today, but he made it to the top of Kilimanjaro at 53. Yeah. So an absolutely fulfilling experience to be able to do that with your loved ones. He's on Zoom, what do you know? And it was definitely a fulfilling experience. So I can kind of pass it on to you folks, and you can answer the second part of the question of what you thought when I approached you with this.
Yeah, I can take that. So my name is Abigail. I'm a master's student, just finishing my master's in neuroscience. And I actually met Yasmin at school. And I saw it on her story. And when I saw her post, I was like, I need to be on that mountain. Climbing Kilimanjaro was something I wanted to do afterwards, but when I heard it was for girls' educations, I knew that this was a cause that I'd be willing to fight for. And so I DM'd her, I spammed her a lot of messages, and she was surprised at my energy at first, and she was like, okay, I love the excitement. And so Yasmin and her family and this whole hike, everyone was really accepting, and yeah, honestly, it was a dream come true. And one thing I know from all of us is we're still processing that we actually summited. It was very tough, sleeping on the ground, being really cold at night, but it was worth it knowing why we were climbing.
Yeah, apologies. Yasmin and Yasin's dad was actually there, right? He's helps us out as one of the board members with AKHRI, a really great individual that shies away from the spotlight, right? I always tell him, hey, you do so much, but he was there at the wonderful age of 53, undergoing all of this, right? So big kudos to Mohammed. Let's get a round of applause to him. He was also a big part of the logistics and getting everybody there, booking everything, making sure that the event went smoothly as possible for them. So the second question is, now fill us into the stories, right? I was there, under my nice duvet on my bed while all of you were under a tent, so maybe the challenges and also the good memories that you shared with each other. Moments where you looked at each other and said, you know what, we're 5,000 meters up high. Well, we're not gonna get back down. The only way is up, where sometimes life treats you that way, whereas the only way is up. So give us a peek into those stories and what you went through, the good and the bad.
Hi, my name is Amélie. Well, you know what they say, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Whatever happened on Kilimanjaro stays on Kilimanjaro. It feels like a fever dream. I don't know how we did that. It was one step at a time, just keep going. But I don't know, what was the memories on there? I don't know.
Playing cards at night?
Playing cards, that's all. It was like you're hiking for like 5 to 8 hours a day. You get to camp and then you're just trying to prepare for the next day. It was like one day at a time. Your body's going through so much, you mentally, physically, and it was just knowing that there was a deeper meaning behind it, that we were trying to raise funds as we were going up, continuously posting, continuously trying to reach out, and I don't know, just knowing that we were doing it for something bigger, I think was just motivating us. Yeah. But other than that,
The nature on the mountain was surreal. We kept saying how it felt like we were outer space, how different it was. So that was very beautiful, and we all appreciated the nature there.
I had a personal problem with the Turkish toilets. I did not see a Turkish toilet, and I remember one day I was taking a shower. So they gave us like a bucket of water for what they called washi. We didn't have access to running water, so we couldn't actually take a shower. And I remember this was like after an 8-hour hike day, and I was like, I just really need to washi right now. So they had like these outhouses, which are not really upkept, given that it's in the middle of nature. And so I remember wanting to take a shower and going there, and the Turkish toilet hole was huge. And the only thing that was on my mind was just don't slip in the hole. And I remember, I think Yasina was like outside, we were all just waiting for each other, and I screamed. And all I was doing is just like gagging and screaming because I almost fell in the hole. So that's one of my memories. I remember going to sleep just thinking about that toilet the whole night. I could not get over it. So that's honestly, yeah.
I remember that moment too. But yeah, no, it was a really big and a great bonding experience, I think, for all of us. We usually talk about the summit day. So the day that we wake up and finally make it to the summit. It was definitely the hardest day of the entire hike. So we woke up at midnight and hiked for 9 hours to make it all the way to the top. They told us it was going to be like 5 hours. It wasn't. But I also want to give like a special thanks to the team that helped us climb Kilimanjaro. We were with an organization called Kilimanjaro Brothers, and the porters and all the people that helped us. It was like a big team, over 30 people, and yeah, like I miss Safe, honestly. I don't know about you guys. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of singing. Yeah.
So the last question, I mean, at this point, momentum is on your side, right? One mountain, second mountain. Is there a third mountain maybe? I don't know. Is there another? That being said, maybe if you'd want to leave everybody here with one lesson that you retain. It could also be one experience, but really one thing that you took away from the whole trip and that changed your lives, because this is a life-changing experience, right? So I think that would be great.
I think we can all agree that we learned that we're so much stronger than we thought we were. And especially summiting, we realized, whoa, we're literally on the peak of Africa, the roof of Africa, and the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. So it really showed how if we put our mind to it, we can really make it anywhere.
I think my answer would be having a good support system around you and being surrounded by people that will uplift you and push you to be better. I think that summit day, I was waiting for somebody to give up and I was gonna go back down with them, but seeing that nobody gave up, it just pushed me to keep going. And I think that was my lesson, and it was good having these people around me. So yeah.
I think my takeaway was
kind of both times at both Everest and Kilimanjaro was kind of astounded at how much support we have in the community, and seeing how everyone rallied behind us through this hike, seeing people posting on social media, seeing it picked up by news outlets, seeing all the donations pouring in. I think it really showed the power that we have within this community with an extension of AKHRI, really. Like, it all started here and it's growing and growing each year that we come back. And I think that's such a beautiful thing. And a speaker earlier mentioned, your network is your net worth. And I can absolutely resonate with that. And I feel like this is my net worth. And I'm so proud and happy to be able to say that. So absolutely, I think I'm just recognizing the power of community in this moment. Yeah.
I think, I'll just say my takeaway super quickly. For me, the summit was really challenging. At one point, I couldn't take 5 steps without needing to stop. And I threw up on that mountain 6 times. The biggest takeaway for me is sometimes slow progress is good, and slow progress is still progress. It doesn't matter how long it'll take, but you will reach the mountain. So I think that's something that's really symbolic for me at the moment as well. Being in my education, going through a very tough master's degree in neuroscience, doing surgeries at all different hours of the day is something that really resonated with me, and I needed to hear that at the moment. So slow progress is progress.
For me, I think I would agree with Emilie's point. I think there was like a real connectedness that we all had, and we all really shared on that mountain. I really appreciate kind of having to have done such a huge mental and physical feat, not only with amazing people but family. I honestly didn't think my dad would do it, but he did it so easily. It shocked me. He did it really, yeah. Yeah.
So thank you really very much. Now I think there's some awards I've been told for you. So Reis, help us out here to give the wonderful awards to all of these folks.
We'd like to recognize Rahma Muse, who is a true unsung hero. From the very beginning, she has been unwavering in her commitment to empowering girls through education. For the past 5 years, she has quietly but powerfully contributed to AKHRI with a monthly donation, making a significant impact. Rahma's role goes far beyond just financial support. She's been an incredible source of inspiration at every fundraising event, motivating countless donors, including her own family.
In fact, 3 of her family members even took on the challenge of climbing Mount Kilimanjaro to raise funds to support our mission of educating girls and women. Although Habo can't be with us today, as she is in Nairobi with Mohammed, we are thrilled to have her daughter here to receive the Distinguished Advocate Award on her behalf. Let's give a heartfelt round of applause for her incredible contribution and unwavering support.
So before we conclude, Melody will present the closing remarks. She's a communications professional dedicated to fostering meaningful dialogue and creating inclusive spaces. With experience in public sector communications, digital engagement, and event facilitation, she works to amplify diverse voices and drive impactful conversations.
Let's all welcome Mel.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we come to the close of this wonderful evening, I want to take a moment to reflect on why we gathered here, to celebrate International Women's Day, a special occasion dedicated to honoring the resilience, strength, and achievements of women around the world. As Sojourner Truth once said, "And ain't I a woman? I could work as much and eat as much as a man, when I could get it and bear the lash as well, and ain't I a woman?" Her words, spoken many years ago, still resonate today as a powerful reminder of women's struggles and the battles we continue to fight. However, tonight is also a celebration of progress, hope, and the incredible impact we can create when we stand together. While our celebration tonight may be coming to an end, our mission at AKHRI continues. We invite you to stay engaged and join us for 2 exciting upcoming events. Our annual gala on October 11th, 2025, held on International Day of the Girl Child, which will provide an opportunity to celebrate our impact, sharing inspiring stories, and continue empowering women and girls. Mark your calendars. We look forward to seeing you there. We will also host a family barbecue in July 2025, where we can relax, connect, and enjoy time with our loved ones. So stay tuned for more details on that. To stay updated on these events and AKHRI's activities, please follow us on social media and visit our website. Your support makes all the difference. Before we say goodnight, I want to express my gratitude to the many people who made tonight possible. To our participants, organizers, speakers, and hosts, your dedication and hard work have made this event successful. A special thank you to MP Chandra Arya for his unwavering support and commitment to AKHRI's mission. We sincerely appreciate your dedication to our cause. And finally, to Anab Mohammed, the founder of AKHRI, and the true inspiration behind tonight's event. Anab, I could not ask for a better colleague, mentor, and friend. With you leading the way, we are well equipped to tackle the challenges ahead. Please join me in giving her and everyone who contributed a well-deserved round of applause. Thank you. Last but certainly not least, let's give yourselves a round of applause for showing up, for your enthusiasm, and for standing in solidarity with women and girls everywhere as we transform futures through education and empowering skills. We couldn't do this without your unwavering support. Thank you all once again, and happy International Women's Day. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and please get home safely.